Hello. I think I've made it abundantly clear in my recent videos that I'm on the side of the Ukrainians. But for those of you just looking in for the first time on my channel, I want you to know that although I can see why Russia is worried, and although I believe that the EU and NATO should probably stay out of Ukraine, after all, the United States went ballistic, and I'm using that word deliberately, when the Soviet Union parked a set of missiles in Cuba. And I'm pretty sure that if Scotland decided to lease land to some foreign power, Parliament in London might not like that too much. But even with all that, Russia should not be allowed to throw its weight around in that way. And we have an interesting development here, a new way of fighting war, or rather of getting an edge in conflict, where governments get together to ship aid to a beleaguered country and then do something else that I think might be completely new. Or is it? They shut down the banking. Now, think about that for a moment. Most of the MSM is pretty much cheering at the strangulation of the Russian economy, or at least they're not attacking it as an outrage as the banks freeze assets, not only of the Russian government, but also of the oligarchs. Now, the oligarchs may be very rich, but they are private citizens, technically at any rate. That is, the banks are freezing not just the assets of a country that nobody likes, but also the assets of private citizens. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Now, I'm just going to read you part of an article in The Spectator. For those of you unfamiliar with that publication, the Wikipedia entry is as follows. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, there it goes. The Spectator is a weekly British magazine on politics, culture and current affairs. It was first published in July 1828, making it the oldest weekly magazine in the world. It's owned by Frederick Barclay, who also owns the Daily Telegraph newspaper via Press Holdings. So these are generally recognised to be right-wing publications. Its principal subject areas are politics and culture. It is politically conservative. Alongside columns and features on current affairs, the magazine also contains arts pages, books, Editorship of The Spectator has often been a step on the ladder to high office in the Conservative Party in the United Kingdom. And then it goes on to remind us all that Boris Johnson was the editor of The Spectator from 1999 to 2005. So I don't think that anyone could call this a left-wing publication. On the other hand, it isn't rabidly anything so far as I've seen. And now I'm going to read you from an article by Isabel Hardman. She's a very establishment sort of political journalist. And this is what she says. Let's see. Russian troops are advancing on Kiev tonight, with explosions continuing in the capital. Dozens have been killed in attacks on Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. Peace talks between Ukraine and Russia have predictably broken down, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reportedly been signing off calls to some world leaders by saying that this could be the last time they speak, as Russian mercenaries from the Wagner Group, whatever that is, I don't know, try to assassinate him. The picture is bleak for Ukraine. But things are also not going well for Vladimir Putin. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss summed up the Russian president's miscalculation today in the Commons, telling MPs that he had not expected to encounter such resistance and heroism from the Ukrainian forces, nor had he expected the West to unite against him in its response. Right, that response now includes further sanctions against Russian banks by the UK, including full asset freezes for 3 more Russian banks: VEB, Sovcombank, that's Soviet, isn't it? Anyway, Sovcombank and Otkritie, within the next few days, and new powers to prevent Russian banks from clearing payments in sterling, which would, quote, damage Russia's ability to trade with the world. Truss also said she had a growing hit list of oligarchs who she was targeting, and that should have been whom she was targeting. What's the world coming to if you can't rely on the grammar of a Spectator journalist? Anyway, should we be glad about this? That's a serious question. She is talking about this as just a straight reporting. She is not showing any sense of disquiet about this tactic. And frankly, I don't know. I don't understand international banking. I don't understand Bitcoin. And I keep mucking up the procedure required to check online at my bank account. So I'm just telling you that because I have to admit to being, illiterate, banking illiterate. So perhaps there is a difference between what the banks are doing now to Russia and the oligarchs and what Justin Trudeau did to the truckers. But I'd say we have to be careful here. What seems good now because we're on the side of the angels, it might not be so good when countries get together maybe to just financially strangle another country that they don't happen to like. Also, it'll certainly lead to all sorts of people mistrusting banks. Apparently Canadian banks are in really bad trouble right now after a run on them following the draconian retribution that the Trudeau government imposed upon ordinary citizens who just happened to have contributed a little money to the Freedom Convoy. That leaves me in a quandary. On the one hand, I feel it's probably a good thing that the world is trying to stop the Russian aggression, without bloodshed. On the other hand, I don't know, using the banks as a weapon, perhaps not so much. And, I really don't know which side to take, but perhaps we'll get some comments below that aren't actually insulting or Russian bots or anything. And I'd really like your opinion on this. Well, that's it from Graniopteryx for today. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. And with the handle @Graniopteryx, whenever I make a video, I upload the links to Twitter, Gab and Parler, so you'll always know if you subscribe to me on one of those platforms. Okay, please like, subscribe, share and support, and, see you next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.